A day after India's Supreme Court announced its ruling on same-sex unions, it remains unclear if there will be any steps taken towards legalising it. Now, the top court had left it open to the Indian Parliament to frame laws recognising gay unions. But there's still been no official response from the government to the ruling. Responding to the Supreme Court decisions, activists say that they have been denied rights available to heterosexual couples. Ishan Garg with this report.
Dozens of campaigners gathered outside India's Supreme Court, disappointed by the verdict. A day after the much-awaited and much-delayed ruling on same-sex unions, activists say the result does not move the needle on civil liberties for LGBTQ people.
डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो गया ना कि जो होमोसेक्सुअल है या कोई भी और जो सेक्सुअल ओरिएंटेशन है वो आइडेंटिफाई करता है उसे तो आपने राइट ही नहीं दिया.
They had hoped for a ruling that would grant queer couples the right to marry the person of their choice, but the five-judge bench did not do that. India's Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud said the right to choose a partner, quote, goes to the root of the right of life and liberty protected by the Indian Constitution. But the decision on whether or not to legalise same-sex unions was ultimately left to Parliament. Some activists are calling the ruling homophobic, while others say the country's top court simply didn't do its job of protecting the marginalized community's rights. Many are also criticizing the judges for saying they empathized with gay community only to pass the buck to the government. The Supreme Court has asked the government to form a committee with the aim of granting rights relating to adoption, succession and forming civil unions to queer couples. While authorities have historically opposed the idea of same-sex marriage, saying it goes against the fundamental idea of a family, many in the LGBTQ community are still hoping for a favorable outcome.
अगर वोट चाहिए तो आपको पॉजिटिव ही सोचना पड़ेगा हमारे लिए. सो या क्योंकि हम वोट देते हैं ना तो हमारी भी मांग है. वी आर ह्यूमन, वी हैव दैट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट्स, वी हैव दैट फंडामेंटल राइट्स. करेक्ट.
For many like Utkarsh and Ananya, the battle for the right to marry to be made a fundamental right has been a long one. Utkarsh was one of the petitioners knocking the Supreme Court's door. One of their key demands was that the court amend India's Special Marriages Act to read the word spouse as a gender-neutral term. While the court says amending laws is the legislature's job, Utkarsh says there has been progress.
You know, when I was growing up as a queer kid in India, I could have never imagined a day where there would be such an open and safe discussion on queer rights. We're not worried about our safety. This has become a dining table conversation, and I think that's a huge victory.
But the legal fight is also about receiving the same benefits as heterosexual couples.
You know, for instance, if Utkarsh has a job and I want to be part of the insurance program, I can't right now because I don't have any legal status vis-a-vis Utkarsh. Or if we transfer money to each other, we have to worry about gift tax and things like that.
Though Ananya and Utkarsh live together, they say their dream of living like a family with kids has been dashed by the Supreme Court. Despite the setbacks, some in the queer community say that the verdict from the Supreme Court is inspiring because it does recognize some rights for them. They also say that the road to civil liberties is long, but it's one they are willing to walk as long as it takes to realize equal rights for them. There remains opposition in India to same-sex unions.
ये सिर्फ इस सिस्टम को और भगवान द्वारा बनाए हुए जो नियम है प्रकृति को उन सारे नियमों को ये लोग दे रहे हैं चुनौती.
There are also those who do so in the name of protecting the institution of marriage. The issue continues to divide opinions, and while it is now lawful in various parts of the world, most countries in Asia remain opposed to legalizing same-sex marriage. Ishan Garg, CNA, New Delhi.